Hi, I'm Jessie Ammett, your host of Valley News Now. I have a very special guest today, Corey Sullivan, and she is from the This Restored Heart Ministries. And Corey, it's so nice to meet you. We've been doing a little email tag, and it's nice that we were able to connect, and I'm so excited to interview you today.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to be on your show, Jesse. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. So you do a lot of things with your ministry, but kind of what we're talking about today is very intense. It can be very almost debilitating time for people when they are facing a divorce, and especially from someone who is a narcissist or a very toxic person. So you've got a quiz I'm going to do a link to too that people can take, but maybe you can help just kind of guide us through this, where you even start. If that is your situation, you feel a lot of things. So where do we
Really do.
begin?
Yeah, well, the very beginning is to get really honest about the situation you were involved in.
Yeah.
Because once you identify that, that your former spouse was a very toxic person or maybe even a narcissistic person, then from there, you can okay, these things happened not because of me,
Right.
but because of the personality disorder
Mm.
that they had. And it is a personality disorder.
Interesting. So yeah, that does take a little bit because you chose that person, and so it takes a little bit to admit that you were married to a toxic person, I think.
Well, and the other thing about narcissists, especially toxic people to a certain degree, but narcissists specifically, is that they are amazing at hiding all the signs.
Mm.
They will love bomb you. They cannot do enough for you. They can't show you how many ways that they love you. Nothing is never enough,
Mm.
right?
Interesting.
They they can't get enough of your time. They, you probably have flowers for days, um, weeks, months, whatever. Uh, and they they take you to the finest restaurants and the
Mm.
nicest places, just amazing. And you just feel like, wow, where has this person been all of my life? I was in that situation.
Wow.
I thought I had met Mr. Woohoo
Yeah.
because he checked all the boxes and he country danced because I enjoy country dancing as well. So I thought, wow. But the reality was on our honeymoon, he was abusive.
Oh. Wow.
And that was like an eye opener. The
Yeah.
thing is, he wanted to get married like within 3 or 4 weeks, he was talking to marriage.
Wow.
And I found out in, doing a lot of studying and about narcissists and things once I realized that that's who he was.
Hmm.
I wasn't doing this ministry at that time, but I realized that he was a narcissist because I sat down with, I hired a coach to help. I didn't want to repeat this same
Right.
pattern anymore. I didn't want to be this person, didn't want to be in this situation anymore,
Yeah.
right?
Wow.
And I knew something needed to change in order for me to be able to attract healthier people.
Yeah.
So I set out and I hired a relationship coach
Yeah. Oh, so
to
smart.
help.
Yep. Because people do
Yeah,
that. They often continue to repeat those same kind of patterns.
yeah, yeah. I've got a few T-shirts I could talk about, but but they weren't, narcissists. And I'm talking about people who maybe I dated or something like that as well.
Sure.
But the thing is, healing after divorcing a narcissist is so, you have to be very intentional
Okay.
because it can be overwhelming. Because just as you said a little bit ago, you question yourself.
Yeah.
How did I get attracted to this? How did I get myself into this situation? How did I allow this situation to affect me in such a way that I made this decision to marry this person?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So how do you begin
Yeah.
to heal after that, or to rebuild that?
Well, as I said, I had to come to grips with the fact that I had attracted a narcissist. And you don't have to be a codependent type person or a victim type, because I'm a very strong woman,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't have to be that type. But I found that there were wounds
Mm.
that had happened early on in my life that kind of made me susceptible to that and attracting that type of a personality.
Sure, sure. Interesting. And that kind of thing really can only be discovered with a lot of self work, I feel like. Yeah. And so
Yeah,
I kind of imagine that's what you do with this restored heart.
I do. I
Yeah.
had to go through a really deep inner healing
Mm-hmm.
process with a professional. And I do that as part of my ministry now. It's
Wow.
part of my program because you know, everything that I do is faith-based, Christian
Yeah.
faith-based. And so I found that the only person who really knew me at my core was Father God.
Yeah.
And he knew the wounds that needed to be healed.
Mm.
So the deep inner healing I do goes to that level.
Yeah.
And that's how we do it.
That's awesome. And so from that point, I mean, and I'm sure that takes some time, some commitment on, on the person's end, but when you're able to do that and build from that, I mean, how does that affect a person's life?
For me, it was life changing.
Yeah.
It was like, whoa, you know, suddenly a lot of things that had happened in my life started to make some sense.
Mm.
And I realized that some of the decisions and things that I had made that were not good decisions were made from a place of pain and wounds.
Mm.
And now with the healing, I'm able to make healthier decisions
Yeah.
and and more life-giving decisions.
I mean, that, like, it couldn't be more life changing. So for,
No,
for people going through something like this, I would imagine even some of it can be not necessarily a divorce, but a close friendship, or even, those relationships where you're with somebody who's toxic like that. How do they get in touch with you? How do they begin that process?
well, begin the process. I do have a calendar that I can give you
Yeah.
that people, and you can post, and people can schedule a time with me. It's called a heart shift consultation.
Okay.
It's free.
Wow.
And for 30 minutes, we talk about what it is in their cycle and their pattern so we can find some breakthrough in that 30-minute period of time,
Wow.
as well as help them with a plan that they can be able to move forward into
Mm-hmm.
healthier relationships and healthy lifestyle and really and truly knowing your heart and who you are in Father God.
Mm-hmm. Um, yeah, there's just no words almost because it's so life changing for people. I mean, what is more than that? The relationships that you have with yourself, with as a person who's faith based, and then also with other people. I mean, that's all
Right?
of life.
We're designed to be in relationship,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so. And I do have a best-selling book, Destiny After Divorce, that,
Oh wow. Yes.
that
Let
is
me
the,
see. Okay. Here, I'm going to change the angle so we can see the whole. There we go.
there we go. Well,
Neat.
let me get it over here. We go.
It's like
There we
opposite.
go.
Yep, there you go. Because that's a tough thing for people too, and maybe you can speak to that as well. In a faith community, sometimes there's shame involved. Sometimes there's just a lot of pain around that. So they've got to kind of get through that portion as well, which can be, I think, pretty overwhelming.
It can be extremely overwhelming. I know when I went through my first divorce that somebody very close to me said, well, you've been divorced now. God's never going to use you. You're washed up, you're used goods. You just as well be the best kind of person. Because we're taught that God hates divorce, right?
Right. Yeah.
But God doesn't hate the divorce. He hates the what the divorce does to us.
Mm.
It is a breaking of a covenant. There's no two
Yeah.
ways around that.
Yeah.
But um, it's also he just loves us. He always loves us. There's
Yeah.
always grace. There's always mercy, and there's always a testimony coming out of that he knows.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking about that as you were talking, and the book and just the whole ministry. I mean, awful that you had to go through that. I can't imagine how painful that was, and you know, such personal trauma. But there is a lot of good here that came from that, and you're able to help a lot of people because you know where they're at. You know the thoughts and feelings that they're going through, and what you had to do to rebuild, and you can help them, which is an amazing thing.
I am, every now and then somebody will say, "Well, I don't even understand how you can do this," but it is so simple. Well, I went on to make another, a rebound marriage mistake
Yeah.
because I didn't take the time. So not only did I wasted that time, quite frankly, and the expense of getting married and divorced again, and I drug my kids through it, my daughters.
Yeah.
You know, I drug my heart through it. I drug their hearts through it.
Yeah.
And people say, well, everybody gets divorced. Everybody can just go back out there and
Sure.
find a different partner. Things will be great. And then not so much, because the wounds are still there, causing you to make those decisions and being attracted to that type of person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and they can spot that. They can spot somebody that they know they can manipulate and control easily.
So the more you do that work, the more you're able to see those things rather than just kind of going about your life like a lot of us do.
Right. We don't talk about that in our society, about actually taking the time to heal.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the world says go back out there and get on the horse and
Right.
get after it.
Yep.
And no, because the wounds need to heal. Otherwise, you're carrying all that baggage into your next marriage. And there have been a lot of research studies done on marriage, second, third, and fourth time around. Second marriage, typically 67% of those marriages are.
Really? Wow, that's interesting. Not knowing any statistics about it, you would kind of think it would be better because you'd think, oh, we're smarter, right? But no.
Yeah, but not so much.
No, not so much. It looks like we don't learn the lessons unless we really are intentional about it.
No, and the lesson is, okay, I can't change that person. There's
Yeah.
nothing I can do about that person. I can be mad at him. I can say mean things about him, whatever, but they are still going to be who they are.
Mm-hmm.
The only person you have any control over is yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, and once we learn that, it's so easy to want to put blame other places, but when we really look inside, well, I think what you do is absolutely incredible, and I'm excited to. I'm glad we get to share some, and I'm excited to for people to connect with you so that they can heal that way and have better relationships.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very fulfilling. It makes me happy. I wish I would have found someone like me,
Yeah.
20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, it's awesome. Okay, I'm going to connect the quiz. As soon as we get done, then I can connect the quiz that you have there. Is there anything else I'm missing, Corey? Or I know we could talk about many topics all day long, but for this one anyway, is there anything else I'm missing, or that you'd like to say before I let you go?
No, I think we've pretty much covered the basic foundation.
Yeah.
I think.
Yep.
And I will send you my calendar link. In case
Yes.
someone wants to take advantage of the hardship call.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, because really and truly, had I had a hardship call when I was first divorced the first time, maybe I wouldn't have gone through more heartache, and I wouldn't have taken my family.
Yeah. And as a mom, that's what's so hard, is bringing your kids through it too. You think, well, I can take it, but I think that causes us as moms pain, for a long time. Yeah, because it feels like it's our fault, but it's just what happened, and it's yeah. There's a lot of levels there.
Yeah, as mama bears, we always want to protect our cubs, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Fiercely. Well, thank
So,
you
but
so
yeah,
much, Corey. I'd love to visit with you again another time because I know we've got a lot that we could talk about. But this was great. I'm so glad I got to meet you. It's This Restored Heart Ministries, and we'll put up some links there to the Heart Shift phone call that you can do, and that's free, which is amazing. But I think just getting pointed in the right direction, knowing that you need to be intentional about the healing for yourself, and getting started is a huge step. Yeah.
it really is.
Awesome.
And you know what? Don't be afraid of that first step.
Yeah. It's a big one, but
It is a big one,
yeah,
and it can be scary. But if you don't take it, then the next step that you take could be disastrous.
true. Boy, that's really,
And
yeah,
which do you choose?
right. Yeah, sometimes it's that's the choice that's to be made. So, wow.
Mhm.
Awesome. So amazing. Thank you so much, Corey. So this is Corey Sullivan, This Restored Heart Ministries, and I am Jessie Emmett, your host of Valley News Now.